Hey, what's going on everybody? Boilon here, and we're back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. Now, today is going to be a little bit different. Today I'm going to be asking a bit of an existential question here, and what is there left to do? So I don't know. I'm kind of feeling a little bit bored. I'm kind of feeling a little bit lost, and so we're going to be doing a little bit of a recap as to sort of where we are in the game, what's kind of come out, what's happened since the patch, and what are we looking forward to, if anything? Of course, there are things to come, but I just feel like I feel like things are a bit aimless right now, and I want to go over that. This is kind of like me getting on my soapbox and just kind of like talking out loud, and wondering if anyone else is feeling this way. So if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. Now, first off, I want to say, how are you guys enjoying the Black Knight meta? Or at least in arena right now. I think that it's interesting. I think to some degree, especially for new and mid game accounts, it's been a little bit of a reset of some degree. Kind of like when Secret Defenders first came through, and I think it's just one character that really helps a lot of people in their arena. That being said, I've heard from a lot of others who are kind of frustrated in general. People who have what I want to call Kraken Knights, like I guess they paid for what they deserve, what they paid for, right? People who put in $500 to $1,000 for Black Knight, should be able to do quite well. And I am struggling against those kind of Kraken Knight 7/7s. There's not very many of them in my arena shard, but yeah, I mean, I'm not winning every single battle, and I'm kind of okay with that, I guess. I just wanted to start with that, anyways. There was a Reddit post that I came across, and this kind of made me think about this a little bit more. And actually, it's not even the full like content of the post that really made me think about it. It was just the title, honestly. What is there left to do? Because I was thinking, like, outside of Crucible days, I'm actually finding myself pretty bored. As someone who's not really hardcore into Alliance War, I get a lot of my enjoyment typically out of PvE related activity. So for those player versus, basically the opposite of PvP, and things like raids, things like Dark Dimension, things like progression of my character progression, things like that, right? So we do have the leveling up process right now, and so I'm 70. Sorry, I'm 97, and I'm a little, maybe a quarter to 98. I would expect that by the time patch either 7.8 or 8.0, we'll talk about that as well, I'll be close. The next patch, I'll be close to 79, maybe halfway through to 100, right? And so I think that we can kind of safely assume, I would think that, Mephisto in Dark Dimension 7 is around the corner for that patch. He's on the splash art already. We've seen hints and stuff like that about him, and I think that's very likely. We'll get to that in a little while, though. So yeah, I mean, this guy here, I think it was just talking about, yeah, as an end game, and I want to preface this. Obviously, I'm an end game player, and so people who haven't done all of this stuff, probably aren't going to feel the same way that I have, and so I could be just talking into the void, but it's just something that I've been feeling. Who's kind of more in the PvE side of things than PvP, even though this game does largely revolve around that. So he basically talks about completing Dark Dimension 6 twice, 7 Yellow Green Goblin Classic Trials, and there's just a little bit less to do. The only thing keeping me coming back is the milestones and supporting my alliance in raids and wars. And I think that's a lot of things that keeps a lot of us playing, is our involvement in our communities, in our alliances. I think that really helps. I think that if the game was not as involved as it was on that side of things, we'd maybe have gotten bored already, or at least I would have. Because I think that for me, a lot of it is, playing with the same group of people that I've been playing with for years. I've been leading my alliance for 3-4 years, maybe. I lost track of time, to be honest. And so I want to talk about things that, I do on a regular basis, which is a lot of like what you guys do, right? So we're on Thursday. This is going to be the end of Crucible, the week of Crucible. And I am going to go, well, I lost my first two and I won my third. It's fine. I'm just kind of getting used to the new rules a little bit, the new characters. Both Black Knight and Red Goblin, for a lot of people, were getting unlocked, both free to play and with cores this week. And so things changed up quite a bit, and getting used to my new attacks. And so it is what it is there. And I'm enjoying it, actually. For better or for worse, I'm enjoying that part of things. But it's only a 3-day thing. And I want to talk about raids because, this is the first time where me and my alliance have been doing the quote unquote top raids. Normally, we're in, let's say, for example, for incursion 1, we did not finish everything. We got to incursion 1.3, and there was still 1.4. Or no, maybe we did get into 1. No, we were on 1.4, but we didn't actually beat 1.4, and there was still 1.5 and 1.6, right, that other people were doing. And for incursion 2, or first strike, we did get to the last one. We didn't beat it, but we did get to that one. And then now for incursion raid 2, or the new version, or whatever, the more difficult version, there's no difficulties. And so we are at the top end of this raid, but this is not something that we typically are doing within our alliance. We're normally like 1 or 2 behind the sort of max potential of a raid. And so there's something for us to always work towards. And now I'm not getting that because they've really bungled this release for this incursion raid. And now we have Hive Mind out, free to play even. Red Goblin is available free to play by now. People have them unlocked. And so are putting together the full team and leveling them up and upgrading them. If you were sitting on resources, you might have already have them maxed. Hive Mind might be already good and ready to go for you, and it is for me. So that means that 80% of the raid is now completable, at least within an easy context, right? You have Bifrost to start. You have you have Pegasus, obviously, in the second set. Bifrost, Pegasus, Extreme X-Men in the mutant section. We have Hive Mind here in Bio. Now, skill, I haven't had a lot of chance to test out, but regardless, that's like 80% of the raid that we've now been able to complete, which usually in any other raid, we would be going into the next difficulty at 60%. And so I'm kind of like in that what would be like the new incursion 2.2 kind of range, right? But we're stuck here sitting at 2. My guess is we're waiting for Gear 19 for a new raid release of Incursion Raid 3, which is going to include new orbs, which will be about a month away or so. But normally that they kind of do this a lot sooner. So previously, when they had raid team releases, there was no way that they would let us get to 80% free to play completion in that sense with the new teams before releasing a new raid. Normally, by the time the 60% mark is hit, like with 3 raid teams, good raid teams, that they would have the new raid already rolled out because it's just too easy at this point. They need us to struggle a little bit more, if that makes sense. So they're a little bit behind on the PvE content, and why is that? And it was basically, I was talking around with some other people, and I think the suggestion is that they've been working really hard on Battle World, and maybe there's less resources to go around for the rest of the game. And that's why things feel, at least to me, a little bit slow. Is that so? Those resources are going towards Battle World, and I'm hoping, because it's going to be a PvE game mode, and like I said, I really enjoy PvE game modes, that I hope that that is tested. I hope that it's good. I hope that it's fun, because I kind of need that right now. I'm feeling levels in Dark Dimension 7 aside, in the near future, I feel like we're able to complete things too quickly. I know this is going to sound weird, but I have so much extra gold now because of what we're getting, that I've been able to do things that I wouldn't normally. Like, I went back and leveled up Infinity Watch to 95 for them. Not everyone yet, but I'm getting there. For Cosmic Crucible defense, and that's never something that I ever considered before, because I just didn't have the resources to do that. I didn't have the gold to do that. I've maxed out Black Knight and Red Goblin, and that's something. So basically, I until the next free to play character comes out, which could be a few weeks, because I unlocked Black Knight early, which would be, I don't know, Cosmic Ghost Rider or Starbrand. I don't have anything else to do with my gold. The influx of gold is pretty heavy at this point, and I feel like it's a bit. I don't want to say this because they might find a way to take it away, and they will when G19 comes out, because we'll be buying it from the supply store. But I feel like things are in a really good spot. In fact, it could be in too good of a spot, that I'm actually getting bored, because I'm actually being able to do side projects that I was never able to consider before, which is a weird oxymoron, because that's a good thing that I'm able to do more things. But there's the resource management part isn't quite there for me, in my opinion, anymore, at least, because how much more we're getting than we were before. Just a weird little observation of mine, I suppose, that I've noticed. Let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. How are you feeling about the gold? I know that some people are feeling the training mod crunch, and I think I'll probably get there soon, because I am spending a lot more. I'm spending more of my gold leveling up, so I'll probably eventually hit that wall. Now, the second half of the video, I want to talk about the release notes and why things feel a little bit dry. And that's because of, like, how bare bones the patch notes were, and we're basically told almost nothing, and so we don't know what's coming up, and I wanna contrast this with the 7.6 release notes. Like, okay, there is some, like, that, right? Like, this stuff, and then some bug fixes, and that was it! Literally, that was it in the patch notes. There's, like, almost nothing in here. It was ridiculous. Okay, let's go to 7.6, though, because it did tell us things that were coming. Now, yes, they kind of redacted or removed in the 7.7, like the talk about characters and things like that. And that is what it is. So 7.6 obviously was the Extreme X-Men and Hive Mind, most of the Hive Mind characters. And when these patch notes came out, we didn't at that time know what the Hive Mind kits were. If you guys remember back in December, we did not have the release of Void Knight and Gwenum in the game, I believe, and I'm not even sure if Venom and Carnage were. I don't think they were reworked at that point. I think they may have had the stat improvements, but they didn't have the kit changes. So that was a really slow rollout. And I understand why they're doing the new thing now with the patch notes, that they're not kind of beholden to expectations on certain things. Like if they say something, then they're kind of expected to do that here on the 7.6, and we'll talk about that. But at least it gave us a heads up of what's coming over the next 6 weeks, right, or 8 weeks, or whatever the winter patch was. And so it gave us things to look forward to. And it wasn't just the characters, for better or for worse. It was other events, right? Like we had the Extreme X-Men Showcase. We probably already knew from the data mines anyways. Hive Mind Showcase, Escape from Kiln. This was a really popular thing. I thought it was really fun, and I really enjoyed this game mode, but we knew it was coming. Now, to contrast this with this patch, we know, because of data mines anyways, that Sword Satellite is going to be next week with Black Knight's release method, but we haven't heard anything about it. There was nothing, obviously, in the patch notes telling us that we were getting Sword Satellite, so if you weren't keeping up to date with the data mines, you wouldn't have known. Wherever you get your data mines from, by the way, I do that as well. I do post them into mine. It's a bit more to the point, I guess. I mentioned the important things, but it's there if you want to follow it along there. And sometimes I do videos on it, but at least we knew, right, that these things were coming. Sword Satellite, I expect it to be in the blog post on Friday because it's like related to Black Knight's release method, but I feel like a heads up on that for the public would have been better, because there's a lot of people who, obviously more casual players, or people who don't keep up with YouTube and Discord and things like that, aren't going to know that it was coming, and they wouldn't have been able to prepare at all for that. I mean, not that you can totally prepare for Sword Satellite, but you understand where I'm coming from. And they had some, obviously some other stuff about the features, the Gold Rush and Training Day, which they did eventually upgrade. I think there was some issues with regards to this, why they didn't want to, though. Origin Gear ones, I don't think this got added. And they talked about this in another blog post, I think, about the challenges and how they wanted to move away from that. But that's a whole nother thing. Legendary event updates, they did this. This was great. This was great for the players, right? Like all of the older legendaries were now able to be unlocked through using different traits. And that was amazing. It was a good thing to look forward to, right? Lots of things that were really good to look forward to. The dropping of character unlocks to 2-star. It didn't really impact me, but it impacted a lot of other people, I'm sure, and new players. So there was a lot of things here that was good to look at, just to say, like, okay, it was here, and this is things that we can look forward to, for better or for worse. 7.7, let's go back really quick. It's literally on this page. There's in half, 75% of this is bug fixes, just bug fixless. So there's just nothing to look forward to. We don't know what's coming over the next 6 weeks, other than what we've seen in data mines and what we kind of expect from, I don't know, the event news post that shows like the February month long and things like that. But there's just no details, and it just feels a bit dry. And I guess that's part of why I wanted to do this video, because I don't know, I'm just feeling a little bit I was going to say in a mood. That's not the right thing to say. It's feels a bit dry, for lack of better words. I couldn't come up with anything. I'm almost a quarter through 97 to 98, and I'm just kind of going through the grind. And I guess by next patch, it's going to be the anniversary patch, and we might have some more details about Battle World, and we're definitely going to have Dark Dimension 7, and then probably start collecting Gear 19. So maybe just this past 3 months, like the winter patch and this patch, is just feeling a bit slow or dry for me. And so I don't really know what's coming up other than what we see in data mines on a weekly basis and what's in the blog post to keep us going, which I guess it's better than some games. I was gonna make a hint. I was gonna make a joke about Lord of the Rings: Heroes of Middle Earth that's basically dead. So for at least we're getting communication. At least we're getting weekly blog posts. But yeah, maybe I'm just feeling a bit in a rut. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Anyways, let me know how you, you guys are feeling in the comments down below. Obviously, this is just musings from an endgame player perspective. For those of you who are still chasing things like Dark Dimension 5, Dark Dimension 6, there's still a lot of things for you to do. I think this is just something for people in the top 3%, 5%, people who are done Dark Dimension 6 who are just have no real big goals to chase right now, I think is part of the problem. But, maybe it's just a me thing. So that's it, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and until next thing. Oh, really quickly before I go, and I should have mentioned this in the beginning, actually. I really should have. Maybe I'll. No, I can't edit this around. Anyways, there was apparently when we did the character vote, right? For those of you who did the character poll, we had this at 4 p.m. Pacific time, and then it reset again at midnight. So I'm recording this actually at like 1 in the morning. Yeah, I have a problem with sleep right now. And so this actually reset again at midnight Pacific time. And so that's currently what the reset is. So people are actually getting to double dip a little bit. So there's going to be like 8 votes instead of 7 votes. But if you were asleep during this time and you weren't around between 4 p.m. Pacific and midnight, that 8-hour gap there, then maybe you missed out on one of the votes. Just wanted to point that out. Anyways, Karen Page is winning. No surprise. I think everyone just wants the memes and say something about a Karen. So that's it, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. And until the Friday blog post, I guess, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see y'all later. Boilon signing out.